Hello and welcome to this Sims 4 video. Today it's all about the Sims 4 stuff packs. I want to talk about my must-have packs and the packs that I could probably do without. My name is Mela and I post fan art, time lapses, and Sims 4 videos, as well as anything else that catches my fancy at any given time. Now, the too long didn't watch version of this video is that there is something from every single Sims 4 pack that I can use and enjoy in my builds. This is totally coming from a Sims 4 builder perspective. However, in saying that, my personal philosophy about building in The Sims is to create little game maps. That is, I build with gameplay in mind and I think about how the Sims player uses the lots, so I will have to talk about the gameplay elements in each pack, not just the build objects. What I probably won't be touching on are the create a sim elements though. I will also only be discussing the stuff packs for now. As a longtime Sims player and builder, I like to have all the expansion and game packs, and I like to include them in all of my builds if I can. Stuff packs, you don't really need to have all of them though, so I'll talk about them and my reasons for why I love each pack, and maybe you could decide whether or not these packs would be okay for your game. I will add timestamps to the video, so if you want to skip ahead to a pack, go for it. I also have a too long didn't watch version in my Sims site, which of course I'll link in the description below too. I'm just editing in a quick update to this video. I started to kind of build this huge lot with all the Sims 4 packs in them, and I thought that after the fact it just might be fun to turn it into an actual functional build. Therefore, I built a department store out of all the Sims 4 stuff packs. It's a ridiculous build, I don't know who needs it in their game, but it will be available in the gallery once this video is released. So why this video? Well, obviously I prefer to build for my game, and if I have a pack, I'd like to use it as often as I can. However, when I'm sharing lots, I understand that some players may not have all the packs, so I try my best to edit down a build that I share so that it uses the least amount of packs, but it's still keeping with the aesthetic that I want for that build. There's other things to keep in mind other than just the looks. There's also the cost of the item. For example, if I'm building a starter lot, then I also have to think about how much the objects will add to the overall price of that starter lot. And I also like to think about how the items function as well. I think about all this stuff way too much, believe it or not. So I kind of wanted to put together this video because it's the best way of talking about why I use the packs that I do and all the nifty aspects of it that I can't really live without as a builder. Even not so favorite packs surprisingly have something to offer that make it worth it for me. So let's get to reviewing the packs. We're here in sunny Newcrest, and I'm going to put down a stage so I could display stuff. We'll start from the first stuff pack release, which is Luxury Party. Luxury Party does not have a lot of items in it, particularly compared to the latest stuff packs. It's the first stuff pack release for The Sims 4, I believe. If I didn't own it now, I'd probably look for a sale or a bundle that includes it. However, other than the clothes, which I love, there's a few items here that you'll see me use in a lot of my builds, especially when I'm building something fancy. Starting with these curtains, I love how they drape, and you'll also find them in the lighting section because they have a little light behind them that really work well if you're creating a nightclub or a lounge. The only thing I don't like about them is that they don't have different heights. However, the one thing that I can't live without for this pack is the buffet tables and the chocolate or punch fountain. And I love adding them to my lounge builds because sometimes you just need fancy foods for your Sims. So unless you love the cast items that come with this pack, I'm not sure if it might be worth it to get, at least not at full price to be honest. But if you need that buffet table in your game, then for sure a luxury pack might be something that you'd want to add to your game. And this element, to be honest, makes it worth it for me. So we'll move on to Perfect Patio, which is one of my favorite packs, to be honest, weirdly enough. This is one pack that I use in a lot of my builds because I love the wicker furniture primarily and the outdoor chairs and the tables too. I love the lanterns and the sauce bottle clutter. It's great if you're building a modern outdoor spaces. Now, why this is a must-have though is for the hot tubs and that modern fencing. I do believe this is the only pack that includes hot tubs, and I'm not counting the 20th anniversary hot tub. This fence is great for modern builds, and I love using it any chance that I get. So Cool Kitchen, it gives you quote-unquote cool kitchen items, and again, if you're building something modern, this is a good pack to have. I wouldn't rate it as a must-have pack though, unless you like the clutter that this pack gives you. That clutter includes this flower arrangement though, which is actually one of my favorite flower vases in the game. This book pile and the kitchen wall objects too, I find them really helpful for building. The counters are nice because it gives us another modern option for kitchens, which aren't ultra modern or plasticky like some of the modern counters in the game, and I like the wood texture. If there was one reason why you'd want this pack, it is for the ice cream machine and the ice cream machine recipes, because it's fun including these in the dessert shops or restaurants if you're building something like that. Now, spooky stuff, I don't mind saying it's my least favorite stuff pack. It might be like really low on the ladder actually. It's themed for a cartoon Halloween build, and I think if your Sims are celebrating Spooky Day, you're fine with the items from Seasons, if you have that EP, that is. This pack, though, it includes a candy bowl, a pumpkin carving station, and it does have these nice distressed wood texture for floors and walls that work really well if you're building something that needs distressed wood. The portraits, though, are really fun because they are haunted portraits, and they will change to something spooky every so often. But as a must-have, I wouldn't say that this pack is necessary for anyone's build, to be honest. I just think it's really outdated and it's not very useful, especially now that we have Seasons. Movie Hangout is an absolutely must-have for me. I love all the bohemian build elements here, which work in a number of different themes. I love how colorful and eclectic everything is, and so I'll just say I love everything about this pack. I love the poofy ottomans with the different patterns, the clutter, the movie posters, and I use the artwork constantly in a lot of my builds. And I love that big television with the speakers because I love the idea of watching movies outdoors. And speaking of, most importantly, this pack has different movies that your Sims can watch, and they do talk about it, which is really neat. So if you like that gameplay element, then yeah, Movie Hangout is actually one of my favorites. Romantic Garden is a must-have pack, full stop here. If you want delphiniums, hollyhocks, lupins, irises, you definitely need this pack. It just fills out your gardens really well. However, beyond the beautiful flowers, there's the stone furniture and the classic statues, which come in clean marble or mossy textures if you want to make that old fairy garden look. The arch windows are used a lot in my game as well, though again, I wish they had them in different lengths, and yes, I know there's custom content out there that takes care of this. I'm always grateful for the modders. One of my favorite objects is the big fountain that Sims can sit on, which is great for parks and public squares. Also, I almost forgot, it has that wishing well. I love this object, but admittedly, I don't use it enough in my builds. Kids Room, this pack I feel is a really nice complement to the Parenthood pack. For me, it's not a necessary pack for my game just because I do have Parenthood, but it does give you some nice pieces that work well in a modern family home. I like the honeycomb looking shelf that's actually pretty cool for creative builds, and I love the photos on a string and the Kulala bear decor. I think it's adorable. Also, in terms of gameplay elements, the Void Critter Battle Station and the Puppet Theater are really fun for your Sim kids to play with. So if you need the Battle Station and the Puppet Theater for your Sim kids, then for sure this is necessary. But for me, just because I don't play with families enough, I think, at least not with kids in The Sims, I don't really use this pack as much as I'd like to be honest. The backyard pack, it's funny that a pack like the Perfect Patio, for example, is necessary for my game, but packs like Backyard is one that I could take or leave. Don't get me wrong, it's got a lot of cool items, and again, they all look really good, and I do like the furniture. I especially like the bird feeder and the bigger patio tables and the chimes, and I think they all really add some depth to your outdoor builds. But I usually think of these things as an afterthought when I'm building something, so I don't really think about the backyard stuff packs as much as I do other packs too. And also, to be completely honest, I've hardly ever used the water slide. It looks fun, but it's humongous. It's really big for for a lot of my builds. It's fine as a temporary object for your Sims to have fun with, but I never build with these objects in mind. Vintage Glamour is probably one of my favorite stuff packs. It's mostly for aesthetics, and for me, this pack is a must-have for my game. I love the old Hollywood 1920s Art Deco style here for all of the objects. This one comes with wallpapers that I particularly love using when I need to create something classic and opulent. One object I feel like I use a lot in particular are these serving tray tables, but I love everything about this pack. The pack also includes this globe mini bar, which is perfect for mixologist Sims that don't have room for a full bar. A vanity table where you could have your Sims make themselves up, and of course it has the butler. So if your Sims really can't take care of themselves, just hire the butler. Bowling Night is another necessary pack in my opinion, not just for the adorable mid-century aesthetics, but with this pack, it's the only pack that you could actually create a bowling alley with, if that's the kind of thing that you want in your game, which I do actually. I really like having a bowling alley in my game somewhere. I love that the atomic chic items complement items from the Get Famous pack. The bar is probably my favorite bar in game, and I love the coffee table, and of course there's the bowling lane. And if you build a bowling lane out of a lounge or a bar, Sims will start forming bowling clubs and play in it. There's also the faux stone wall that comes with this pack, which I actually use quite a bit too. Fitness pack was a tough one for me to determine whether it's needed in my game. I like the clothes that come with this pack, and generally I love the modern aesthetics with the furniture and the fitness items, and it's helpful if you're building a chic modern bathroom, I guess. I just never found it necessary though. The same with the backyard pack. It comes as an afterthought when I'm building stuff like this. When I build gyms, I could probably build one without this pack. The wall art is really neat though, and one item I do love are those cage lamps. And I also do love having the Sims play on the wall climber, but I could live without this pack if I didn't have it in my game. Next up is the Toddler pack. I think it was a year or two after the Sims 4 launch that toddlers were finally introduced, oddly enough. The base game did include some toddler items when the toddlers finally got to the game, but this pack offered more for toddlers in terms of playground items and toddler-friendly furniture. I'm on the fence on whether this pack is actually necessary though, but I do use these string lights and the cushion seating on a lot of my builds, even if I don't use much else. Laundry Day was the first community voted stuff pack. The whole voting was interesting to say the least. The community, which included me, voted on an eco-friendly, quote-unquote eco-friendly themed pack, which somehow over the course of the runoff voting turned into a laundry pack. I personally didn't necessarily want a laundry pack, but the result was pretty good. As far as I'm concerned, any community voted pack is pretty much necessary for the game. This pack introduced a lot of items, not just the laundry machines. The items are rustic, country, bohemian themed, and I love all the colors and the textures on these objects. It's also pretty charming, and if you want a realistic family house with a laundry room, this pack is probably a must-have. Most of my family houses will have space for laundry now, whether I wanted it or not. Now, my first pets. This is a controversial one. In general, the community says it's the worst pack, but that's because of how it was presented. It was basically an add-on to the Cats and Dogs expansion pack, and a lot of people felt like the items in this pack should have been included in Cats and Dogs. I'm inclined to agree to some extent, though in general, I don't find it a bad thing to include items in stuff packs for certain EPs. Like, for example, I think it would have been okay to include pet clothes for different themed stuff packs. Or maybe if the style of these items weren't so similar to the items in Cats and Dogs, like if they were completely different, maybe that would be okay. So controversy aside though, there are some items in this pack I personally really love using in my own builds. These include the blinds and this aquarium coffee table. I also do love giving my Sim kids a rodent pet. I think it's pretty cute, to be honest. You'll notice though that I don't usually include items in this pack in the builds that I share. I would not call this pack my least favorite though, or even the least useful. That honor goes to Spooky Stuff. Moschino is another quote-unquote controversial pack. Some people didn't like having third-party companies advertising in the game, but I kind of consider this like a Sims 4 and Moschino collab. This kind of stuff really isn't new to the Sims franchise, to be honest. We had IKEA and H&M in Sims 2, and in Sims 3 we had a $20 diesel stuff pack. I do love this pack a lot. It does give us a lot of high-end urban items, and I absolutely love the industrial windows that were included in build mode. The magazine clutter is one of my favorite items in games, to be honest, and I'm always finding excuses to use that guitar case coffee table. In terms of gameplay, you get to be a photographer, and that could be fun. So, necessary? As far as I'm concerned, yes it is. At least it is for my game. It has items and aesthetics that I couldn't really find in the other packs. Tiny Living is an interesting pack. It comes with a lot venue, the Tiny Home Residential, which is more like a challenge. It counts as a tiny lot if you could fit it under 100 tiles. The items are really well done. I did love the textures and the colors, and it brings a nice modern aesthetic to the build mode that kind of reminds me of West Elm or Crate and Barrel. And I like that this pack was a challenge pack for builders. Seriously, Sims Teen, I'd love to see more of it, to be honest. The Murphy beds are fun, but I found myself not really using them much in my game. And as for being necessary in my game, I didn't really find that was the case. There were just not enough items aside from the Murphy bed that I couldn't play without. And as I said before, I don't find myself using the Murphy bed all that much. Nifty Knitting is the second community voted stuff pack. Again, I voted for it when it was an arts and crafts pack, and the runoff voting turned it into a knitting pack, which I have no problem with, to be honest. I do like it. I just like just like the laundry day pack, the pack is just necessary because I feel like the community owns it. I am pretty happy with it though because I love the rocking chairs most from this pack, and I particularly love that tray cart. I haven't played much with knitting, to be honest, but the crafted items such as the macrame plant holders are really necessary, I think. We just don't have enough hanging plants in the game, and I would really love more hanging plants, to be honest. I also love the hanging planters that come in different lengths for the different wall heights, and I appreciate that. The last pack that I purchased is the Paranormal pack, and I admit I didn't get a chance to play with this pack much yet, but I am inclined to love it. The concept of a real quote-unquote spooky stuff pack has already sold me, and I love the New Orleans theme of the items. I love all the textures and the patterns on the items in this pack. I feel like there's so much to see here and lots of different ways to coordinate with the other packs. So I could see this definitely being a must-have for my game, and I plan on using it a lot. This writing desk and the curio cabinet, for example, is gorgeous, to be honest, and I don't think there's enough fireplaces in the game, so this one with all of its painted colors is so appreciated. I definitely know I'll have fun with this one. Anyway, that is it. It's quite a lot to talk about here, but let me know what you think and what your favorite items are in your game. Thank you so much for getting this far into the video. Please leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or found it helpful, and subscribe to keep up with new stuff on my channel. So have a great one. Thank you so much again, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.